we had global illumination issues that I talked about, but that's more of a second semester issue for VR to find. Art assets and some other issues with that. Some weird lighting issues, also not even including global illumination, where you can see through certain textures in the VR environments, but not in the PC. So those are the big ones.
Big ones. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Matthew Fromloff, and I am presenting Threshold. It is a horror game with a randomized maze element, and it's pretty much based on a creeping sense of dread, or pretty much what's normal becoming strange. So doors appearing where they shouldn't be, and going down long and twisting corridors and rooms with something chasing you. And it's pretty much in the main character's mind all of this comes from. It's her perception of her neighbors. So her neighbor, one of them is a computer technician, and so his maze is very technical, it's very straight. It has a bunch of servers, even though they're incorrect. There's something wrong about them. They don't really have a purpose, and stuff like that. Whenever you go through the maze, you end up on the other side, and you find an exit, and you find yourself in your neighbor's apartment, and you actually learn more about them. And in these areas, you find narrative selections where you learn about letters and photos, and you get new impressions of these characters. You collect supplies, like batteries and better flashlights. You have character themes and music that actually goes along with their personality. For example, Melinda has a very Moody Blues type soundtrack. Here's more of character art. So the core maze loop, much like the apartment, also involves a little bit of narrative. It has a clue section where you learn about these characters, and you find yourself being drawn to the truth, and that's how you escape out of the maze. So you enter a room, you hear a line of dialogue, and it says, "Oh, a breakthrough," and then you keep moving on, and you click on items, look at computers, and then you hear a piece of dialogue again, and it connects to that first trigger. When you hear that dialogue, you realize, oh, this is something true about him. And then you look at these pictures next to each door, like these symbols, for example, and you realize this relates to this story that was just told, and this must be the way out. If you pick the wrong door, though, you activate a siren, and the monsters start chasing after you. And you have to avoid the monster, and it's useless to fight them. You can only hold them off with lights and run. So don't make too much noise. So maze design, so we made them modularly. Each tile is connected by a hallway, which teleports the character. So the player feels like they're continuously moving through the maze, but really they're being teleported through different spaces. It avoids clipping issues and things like that. So it has a few technical things that are very impressive, where only what is pretty much shown from the player perspective is being rendered, or at least the area around them. So we can actually create an image of the next room, even when we're being teleported, without, going stuttering, without a clip show, I guess. Here's more art of like those hallways that I was talking about. That's this is future maze though. As I said, and we were talking about maze. I just wanted to show you the clue sections. These are the screens that are images that tell you what room is correct. So my favorite teacher taught me at the school on this chalkboard. If that's the story, and then you see that picture, you think, oh, that must be the way to go. We randomized the pictures, so you don't always get the same story. So monster design, as we talked about earlier, light keeps it at bay. The monster only spawns if you start running in the maze, if you pick the wrong door, or if you throw rocks around, because you can throw rocks around. You can hide from the monster by crouching down. You can also attract the monster with sound by throwing that rock, so it will avoid you. But if it sees you, it won't follow the rock. So I wouldn't just start throwing rocks around if it's chasing you. The monster, if it doesn't see you or hear you, has a search pattern for each room. Here's the monster, as they have it right now. We're going to talk about VR. So we did a lot of texturing and global illumination for the PC version. For the VR version, we were just trying to get the features down right. So we'll add the textures pretty much either next semester, or if we have enough time, we might try and add them this weekend. But we can throw objects. So unlike in the PC version, you can throw an object in one direction, but with the VR, you can go crazy with a flashlight as well. There's an interactive menu that's really cool, which is it's a cell phone. You'll see that. And we, of course, have to undergo changes for the global illumination. I also want to talk about how the contrast between the two styles of rooms. So think of the apartments as Left 4 Dead style safe houses, and think of the maze as the being chased by zombies, except you can't shoot them. The mazes are kind of melted, they feel wrong. Everything is a very painted look, so it looks like it's been, have you ever seen Francis Bacon's paintings? It's very brush-stroked. We're gonna add that in with the grime. Right now it's very clean, but we need to go over it a few times in substance. But in contrast, the apartments themselves are very clean, and they are pleasant to be in, and they're very warmly lit. And there's also music in them, so you can actually, calm down. It's those moments of breaking the tension. Here's the main character, here's the monster's early art, here's the Francis Bacon I was just talking about, here's some game called Life is Strange, which helped inspire some of the pieces of this game we're making. And here's another maze piece of art. And here's our website. You can click on it. And thank you very much. So I guess we have a presentation to give with our game. You'll notice that the hallways are very different. Forgive us. So, yeah. And also my own voice is in there, so if you hear me, sorry. So yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And keep going, I would say. So this is an example of the story. So, as I was telling you, when you trigger into a room, a little bit of dialogue starts. You know how the story ends. The main character has a wife, and you've been hearing about her in the maze, and then you know that she's sick. And so, pretty much it says you know how the story ends, and then you continue on. I know they're trying to get sound working for this. But
这里就是没有特别奇怪的。
So, ready? Continue? Cool. So, you're looking for an object. Right now they're attached to things. If you turn the light on, they'll be able to see better, probably. Yeah. So, she seemed to get in through, but then she dies, of course. 1992. So, we were looking for something that represents death, and maybe a date. And each, as you can see, each door has a little image, and you might not be able to see it because you're so far away. But for example, that's a flower. That doesn't seem to really denote immediately death. It's a chrysanthemum, so it's kind of like. Keep saying, and it's actually randomized, so the players don't actually know which way to go. That seems to be accurate. So, I would continue on. 1992. My surroundings. So, So, yeah, this is the place that's very good for hiding. So if you're going to activate a monster, I would say this is the place to do it. So yeah, he's going to now start activating the monster, and so pretty much you're hiding, and it won't see through objects, of course, and so if you start throwing rocks around, it might actually get its attention. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Now you want to probably wait it out, but it might be more fun if they don't.
Oh,
And there it is. I would suggest that since it takes so much time to get through each section, that was a good demonstration for Little Maze, and I think we should go into the VR version, which isn't as pretty, but it is a lot of fun involved with flashlight. Sorry about the sound, because you know there was some cool creepy noises that the monster made, so like she left and things like that. This is the bare bones version. So yeah, here's the bare bones, like teaching moment. We felt like since this is pretty new, we have to be kind of blatant. But this is actually going to be Hannah's room when we actually add the beds and things. So I would just start showing off all of the throwing objects and things. So movement is attached to the D-pad and the grip button, which we might fix that, but it's for running purposes. Whenever you grip something, you pretty much can throw a rock around out of the ether. You can also pick up objects on the ground though, just by reaching down, clicking, juggle. Yeah. You can pick up the flashlight, turn it on with the menu button actually, because it just felt right. You can also look at your other menu in the other hand, if you want to show that off. It's a cell phone, so you pretty much can control music volume and things like that. And you can also get killed while playing with your cell phone. So. And now you can go on to the maze, which is not as pretty, sorry to say, but it will be next week, we hope. So there are batteries to pick up, so we also do have sound effects also activated for this, but you obviously can't hear them for some reason. I think it's just the television. But yeah, here's some early stuff with the images, but I bet we can get the monster again. So if you go through this door, you won't activate the monster, but if you go through the wrong one in the next room, you'll be able to get a look at it. There's also a siren that goes off if you ever pick the wrong hall. So there it is. And now the monster will pretty much follow you. And if you look behind, there it is. So yeah, I would just start running. Well, make sure you don't keep picking the wrong door, or you're kind of dead. But it might be fun just to give up. Don't you think, Alec? It's pretty much trying to get towards you with the light, keeps it at bay for a little while, and then. Thank you very much.
anybody have any questions for the Threshold team? Now's your opportunity. Thank you. The gameplay loop is really compelling, but I wonder what we know what the loss condition is.
Yeah.
What's the victory condition?
So the victory condition, which you pretty much can get to in this version, it's the final room where there'll be an exit to the apartment. So when you get out of the maze, there'll be a door that isn't those big shuttering ones. There'll be just a normal creaking open door like the first room. And it will lead you to your neighbor's first apartment, which is Adam's apartment, who's the tech guy, based on that maze. And then you find out more about him, and not just the sad stuff, because the maze represents all the negative emotions of these characters, and everything horrible that's pretty much happened to them. But the room itself represents more about what's actually there, how they actually are, and how happy they are, and all the good things. You kind of learn that. And the main character has a bad habit at the beginning of seeing people very negatively, and this is supposed to break that. The end goal, not just the loop, is when you get back to your own apartment, when you go through your own maze of the main character. So that's pretty much it. And then when you pretty much leave your room and say, I'm out of here. So.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could briefly share with your team any insights you learned as related to cross-platform development for PC and for VR.
Okay, that's a lot. So it helps to do the PC stuff first, just so you can get the kinks out. But you don't want to. So we start off thinking that way. But you really need to start thinking way ahead about the controls and how the player moves. I think we caught that one early enough, but I still find some issues with our running that I want to fix. I think it's just we need to figure out the grip button. I find is just too unreliable at times, and so we want to find another solution. And I think that over winter break I'm going to be kind of brainstorming that. Other issues I would say is just making